Welcome to this next area of Oracle Financials training, which is about wanting to create a purchase order where you're not set up as a buyer on the system. So you go to create a purchase order and there's an error saying you're not set up as a buyer. And you may also find that you're not even set up as an employee on the system. So it's very difficult to look at purchase orders. You won't be allowed to do that, or even create purchase order system. So these are two areas of setup that need to be completed. So the question is, what do I do in a sequence of events? What you need to do is the following: is set yourself up as an employee, then set yourself up as a buyer, and then you'll be able to create purchase orders. So that's a sequence of events that we'll go through in this short video. So we'll move over now to the login screen for Oracle. So now we're here at the login screen for Oracle, and enter your username and password in the usual way to log into the home page where you'll see your responsibilities. And here we're going to the purchasing super user, where we're going to purchase orders because we want to try and create a purchase order. And when we do so, we click on the link there, we open up the core forms as usual, and before the purchase order form opens up, we're given a note: you're not set up as a buyer to access this form, you need to be a buyer. So that's our problem so far. So what we could do is we can go to the setup part of the menu and we can drill down on personnel and then go to buyers, and we can see if we're actually a buyer on the system or not. So that's what we're going to do. That's our first thing to do, is to see and inquire, are we a buyer on the system? So we're in the buyers window at the moment, and we'll have a look. We'll search by clicking on the magnifying glass to have a look at a list of all buyers, and they're coming up now. We'll just click go, and we'll be presented with a full listing of all buyers on the system, and I'm looking to see if I'm one of them. So I'm at Kartakar and I don't see my name on this page. I'm going to click on the link for the next 10 and like to see if I'm there. No, I'm not there, so I'm actually not a buyer on the system, and I wasn't available to be selected as a buyer either. So what I want to do next is to see, well, am I actually set up as an employee on the system within Oracle? So I've gone to the enter person window, and what I want to do is to go to inquiry mode. So F11 gives me blue background, percentage, TACAR percentage, and then I'll do control F11 to bring back any records to do with TACARs. And I can see on the bottom, query calls, no records to be found. So I know now, not only am I not a buyer, I'm not even a person within Oracle. It doesn't recognize me. So what I need to do is to create myself as an employee on the system, which I'll do in a moment. I'm just having a look to see who's there at the moment, and I'll scroll to get an empty record so I can start entering my details for myself, so I can be a person on the system, an employee on the system. So I'm here at a new record now, and I'll enter in details as you typically do, so last name, first name, etc. And it'll become a little bit more detailed as we move from this form, which is connected to the next form, which will want a bit more intuitive information over what it is that I do within the organisations, what role and what job I do, for example. So I'm just entering basic details here. So we're happy with the first name, last name and date of birth. What I want to do is to go to the More tab after selecting my gender, go to More, and I can't carry on because I need to save. I forgot to save, so let me save. Oracle's helping me here, reminding me of anything I forget to do. And now I can go to the More button and enter in more information about myself and what I do. So this now takes us to the next core Oracle form, while I enter in additional information about myself, and it's just taking a moment to get there. And I'm happy with this address tab. What I want to do is to move to the second tab, which is assignment, and that's about what do I do. So you can see there it says position, organisation, and then on the right we've got job and supervisor. So this is all about me. What do you do? What is your position? What is your job? So if I do a wildcard and find, that brings back every job, and I'll choose one of these and I'll say I'm a procurement manager, for example. So click that, and then click OK, and it will save that as procurement manager. And it also wants to know what position do I hold, and I'll follow the same process by clicking into the field position. Also supervisor, so who do I report to, and here Paul Edwards, for example, and click OK. It's taking it nicely. Which organisation do I work for? And again, wildcard, percentage, and find, and I'll say I'm within HR UK operations, and I'll click OK to that. Building up my profile here. So going into position now, what position do I hold, and clicking on the pick list at the end with the 3 dots, again within the positions, find, put in the wildcard, and we can say we can choose any one of these for the purposes of this video. Doesn't really matter, so we'll go with UK Operations Manager, for example. Select that, and we're now populating most of the fields that are required to be filled. So moving on from here, I want to enter my location address, so I should be within the UK. So again, choosing from the pick list and wildcard and seeing a list of all the locations. What do I want to go for? It's UK headquarters, and I'll OK to that, and hopefully that'll default in the address, which is for Blackpool. And as soon as I click that, it takes me to personal information, and I need to click back to the assignment tab just to make sure it's all complete, and it is. I'm happy with that, and I can now save. So I've created myself as a person within Oracle now. So the question is that enough for me to now go in and open up the purchase order? So we'll see. We'll just close down this window now, and we'll go back to buyers, and I'm interested in knowing, now I'm created myself as an employee, am I available to be selected from a list of employees to be a buyer? So I want to link the fact that I'm an employee to being a buyer. So do I have the potential to be chosen? Can I be found? Not on this front page so far. Let me click on the link for the next 10, and yes, I'm there, top of the list. Yep, I'm happy to choose myself to be a buyer. So the system will then recognise me as a buyer, which means somebody who can create purchase orders, for example. So I'm just going to now quick select myself as a buyer, and it will then take me back to the buyer's window, and from here I can just click save, which is on the right hand side button, top right or top bottom. There's 2 save buttons there. So now I'm going to purchase orders. Can I open up a purchase order? Can I start creating purchase orders? Am I allowed to do that? Just moving it over to the top 10. Let's have a look. Will it allow me? No. You're not set as a buyer. To access this form, you need to be a buyer. Now I've just created myself as a buyer, so it might be confusing at first, but I know it's because my username when I log into the system isn't connected to that employee I created on the system. So there's a missing step, which is very easy to overcome. You just need to change responsibility by clicking on the black hat, going to System Administrator, clicking OK to that, just having a look at the navigator, changing to System Administrator, and it did. And now I'm going to go to Security, to User Define. And what I'm going to do is define my user that I logged in with Oracle in the beginning. And I'm just going to link the employee I created into the system here to that login information as well, because it's not recognizing me as a buyer because I logged into Oracle, but I need to connect my username here, which we're searching for and inquiring on here. So TACR, now Control F11 to execute it, And what I'm interested in is the person there, Sarah Smith. I'm not Sarah Smith. I've just put in Sarah Smith so I can create purchase orders in a test environment. I want to put in my real name now that I've just created, that I showed you earlier in this video, which is at Cartacar. So I'm going to save that. So the person I've created myself in as Oracle is really me linking into my username and password that I logged in for. So now when I go back to the purchasing super user and then navigate down to purchase orders again, it should now allow me to open up the purchase order. There shouldn't be a problem now. So fingers crossed. Going into purchase orders, will it open? Yes, it did, and we can see that there, purchase orders new at the top. It's allowing me to create a new purchase order. And if you notice, one of the fields on the left, it says buyer. So it's actually recognizing me as a buyer, linking me to this purchase order, knowing that when I logged in I've got the responsibility, and allows me to create purchase orders now for my operating unit, which is the UK. So do I want to save the changes for this purchase order? No, I don't. And what I'm interested in doing is having a look at a purchase order that's already been created, just to get an idea to see what they look like in a bit more detail. And here's one created by buyer Kate Middleton, and it's a purchase order number 60004 for a supplier Toshiba, and it's a standard purchase order which was created on that date. It's been date stamped, so we know when a purchase order has been created, on what day and what time might be important, and we can see the supply details, and I can also see that it's been approved as well. So here we have in the line items of this purchase order, which is PH 10000, and it's for a finished goods head case iPhone 5S. That's the item that was being purchased. Just having a look at the description in a bit more detail there for completeness, and if I just cancel to that, scroll right, I can see that 20 of these were purchased at £400 each, and they were needed by 30th of June. Scrolling right again, yep, that left a total amount of 8,000, and the charge account code combination was for 130 to 100, which is materials, and that's it for the line items on this purchase order. And if I wanted to, I could see the associated purchase order with this, or if I wanted to, I could create my own purchase order. I could copy this one, which I don't really want to do, but just showing you a bit more additional functionality. And that's it for creating a purchase order. If you have any issues before creating them, what it is that you need to do to overcome them. So I hope you enjoyed that video there.